So a lot of people, when they're talking to me, they're like, oh, you have it so easy. But then they'll complain to me about like their boss and their coworkers. And what I say to them is like, okay, you're complaining about your boss and coworkers. Now imagine going home to them and like having dinner with them. And that's what family business is like. It is the same problems you have in a regular business, and then you carry it home.
Today, we're joined by a young leader whose journey blends legacy, innovation, and a deep commitment to growth. Vikram Khemlani is part of the family behind one of Jamaica's most recognized business groups. From working on the ground in the family business to building his own voice through digital storytelling, Vikram is redefining what it means to lead with purpose and authenticity.
Putting yourself out there and getting that self-respect for yourself rather than thinking about what other people say.
Yeah.
Think about what would you do to make yourself happy. And there's a whole list of things I think that align with that. One would be setting goals and accomplishing them. Even if it fails, you say, don't set a goal like, I'll get this. Be like, I want to try this.
He's passionate about entrepreneurship and using platforms like TikTok to connect with a new wave of thinkers and doers. Vikram's story is one of not only curiosity, but undeniable, bold vision. Nice to have you here on Proven Pulse. This episode is going to be interesting and fun, right?
I hope so.
Okay, so what do you do at Khemlani Mart?
That is a very good question. I do a lot. Most of it, I have to look like I'm doing something. I have to look very busy, so people don't give me too many things to do.
Yeah.
And I have to not mess up.
Okay.
So
How's that strategy working for you?
it has, I'm not fired yet, so, it seems to be working well.
Okay.
But I think there's still time for that, so.
No, but you said what's the criteria?
I fit the one criteria to work there, so it's
What's that
being a
criteria?
Khemlani, That's the only criteria, and I fit that, so I think, there's not a lot of them out there, so
Yeah.
we're good.
You're good.
Yeah.
So you can just continue looking busy.
Yes, I do look busy, and I try to do the things my dad tells me to do if they are possible.
I get
And if
that.
they're not, I go to my mom, and I complain, and then she handles it for me.
Okay. That's working for you.
And so far, 5 years, we're good.
You're still in a job.
Yeah, so far I still have a job, so.
All right. That's a very interesting take on it. But on a more serious note, tell me about Khemlani and the history of Khemlani.
Well, you guys brought the wrong Khemlani for this. The history of Khemlani. My dad tells me about it a lot. And
Khemlani
sometimes I'm
Mart.
scrolling on TikTok when he tells me. But from what I remember, they were founded in 1994. If I get this wrong, he's going to be so upset. But hopefully he doesn't see this. And we've been strong since then. But the Khemlani Group has been in Jamaica since 1967, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And we've had different stores. And then Khemlani Mart itself was 1994.
Okay.
Yeah, so very, very, lots of generations. So each generation, their job is to just not mess it up, and pass it on to the next generation.
Okay. What does your dad think about your social media presence? Does he know of it? Has he seen it?
Sometimes people will send it to him. And then,
Is he on TikTok?
I think so, because I think so, but people send him links and say, oh, this is your son. But sometimes he's not good at opening them, and he'll ask me to open it, and I'll say, oh, your phone is not working. So it's okay for now, yeah.
It's okay
when he figures out how to open those links, it's going to be problems. But for now, he's just like, what is the video? I'm like, oh, it's just Khemlani Mart promotion,
Yeah.
It did well, so.
It did well.
Yeah, they're just sending it to you.
Yeah, you say he's primarily on TVG.
He's primarily on TVJ, so as long as I'm not on the news, I'll be okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
got it. But tell me a little bit more about this strategy, because I know you're using humor and you're using a different approach to really position Khemlani Mart.
Mm-hmm.
What's the thought process behind this? What?
So Khemlani Mart has always been very strong when it comes to marketing. And I didn't even realize this. And this is not me being, I'll tell you why I say that. This is not me being like biased in any way, but when I was growing up, I remember even in school, kids used to come up to me and they'd be like, falling prices. And that was an ad that my mom did. And these kids who don't even watch TVJ are like repeating to me at school and teasing me about it. And I always thought, wow, mom, why do you have to do these ads and stuff like that? But now from a marketing perspective, I thought it's really, really good. The fact that
it
people are coming up to me.
resonated.
Yeah. When I used to be in Island Grill, people used to say it to me.
Yeah.
So I used to get like, wow, I'm kind of being embarrassed at school. Well, that's how they paid their bills, and it worked really, really well. And so now we're trying to continue that and be very bold in marketing. And my dad likes to put his name on everything, so I have to be very careful about what I do and how I show myself online in a way. So it's a very fun business, but it's also a very serious business.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I pick up. So there's a fun element, and you
Yes.
brought a lot of that fun and the humor
Yes.
to it, but it's a serious business.
Yes.
So how has it been balancing both?
So thankfully, the business is okay enough that if I make a few mistakes or I break a few doors or a few tiles, it won't, topple over.
Yes.
So there is
The foundation is strong.
The foundation is strong. So, I'm allowed to kind of play around a bit as long as, I still do the things my dad tells me to do. He's not super hard on me, and he allows me to have the freedom to have fun. But a lot of the videos originally did well just because of the name. So the first viral video was literally just about Khemlani Mart, and it was really what kind of started it. But because the name, I guess my dad used to promote the name a lot, and we used to use a lot of billboards and stuff like that. Anywhere I go, people would be like, "Oh, Khemlani," and then they would like ask me for a mattress or something, So, and I never got that when I was younger. Like I never understood why people asked me for a mattress, but now I understand that they promote the name hard, and so there is a bit of fun to it because it's known, but the seriousness comes in to like, all right, still do your work at the same time.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So,
Tell me, what made you gravitate towards TikTok as a platform?
well, it's actually funny because, all right, so like my first video, I remember this was like 2021 when very few people in Jamaica were using TikTok. And at the time, I had like 500 Instagram followers. And then I remember I posted a video on TikTok with my friends about like taking shots. And it got 600 views. And I was like, wow, this got more views than I have followers on Instagram. And then I did it. And by like the third video, it had like 10,000 views. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. Like, I like the attention. So,
Well, that's honest.
yeah, I like the attention. So, then I did buy like the fourth video was about the family business. It's just like when I'm at work, I think of funny things, while I'm pretending to be busy. So I'm just thinking of funny things while sitting at my desk, and like my parents will say stuff to me. So I remember there was these construction workers doing some work for us, and they started to yell at me. And I'm just, at that time I was 24. So they're much bigger than me, and they start to yell at me, and my mom overhears. So she comes over there, and I start yelling back because I think, I have to put them in their place.
Yeah.
And then my mom holds my hand, and I was like, all right, I lost this argument immediately. Like, this is done. So, and she said, Vicky Poo, don't raise your voice. And I was like, all right, mom, thank you for making me, like, I just told them, you guys do whatever you want. It's fine.
I've
full
lost. On flop.
I was like, yeah, I've lost. You guys do whatever you want. You just take over. It's okay. And so I basically posted a video about that, when you're like trying to work hard, and then that took off, and then everybody started calling me Vicky Poo from there. And like, it got really fun. Like it got super, super fun where I was like posting every week, and my friends would send it to me and say, yo, this is so funny. And people would say it's so funny. So for a while, it was really, really, really fun. And then companies started approaching you, and they're like, oh, can we do videos? And then you kind of start to feel a bit of pressure because you're like, oh yeah, we could try, but like, I don't know.
That was the original intent.
It's just like, oh, you're going to give me money to do this? Oh, okay, so it has to do well. Versus, I'm just doing this for fun.
Correct.
So it got more and more serious. But then when the company started to approach me, it was almost like a challenge. So I started to, look forward to it when companies would approach me.
Right.
And then from there, just kept going. And so far, it is really fun to do. And I'm just constantly thinking of new skits. I really enjoy doing them. And, my parents don't mind as long as I do my work.
So tell me, as a kid growing up, because you strike me as that child that always had, when something is happening, you have this conversation going on in your head where you make a funny joke that it might stay in your head and it might not get out there, but now it's actually coming out there. Were you that kid?
So I think because I was fourth, it was like a case where I always wanted attention because everybody was like talking at the dinner table. And, I'm the fourth child and there's like 8 of us. So it's like, I want to say something. So I just would always try to say something funny. Mm-hmm. And then even in school growing up, I think my parents were a bit worried because I would always like just try to be more of like a jokative person.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's not super good for when you're like in Indian families, you want to become a doctor or a lawyer. And then you have this kid who's just joking around.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah, I just want to make jokes, So, but I always just tried, I don't know why, maybe I'm just an attention seeker, but I always just tried to make jokes. And even when people tease me, I'm like, oh, that's a good joke, like I'm going to use that when you're not around. Like, that's a good joke. So, I guess maybe it has to do with something like growing up in a big family where you're like, oh, I need attention.
This is your thing.
Yeah.
This is what you do. You're the funny one.
Yeah,
You're the one that makes
you're
everybody
smart,
laugh.
But I'll make a joke,
You make everybody laugh. And
Yeah.
look, you've now used social media platforms and you've really grown your reach from that, which is great.
Yeah. Yeah. It's super fun. I really enjoy it. It gets DMs. It's good with girls. Like, overall, it's just, overall, I haven't seen too many cons of it.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the upsides are much more than the downsides.
Yeah. The upsides are pretty good. So it's been fun. I still keep my day job, so I can still do work. But it's been very, very fun.
Okay, and so where do you see this going? Is this something that you're just gonna do, or you have a strategy and a plan to grow it more? Do you have a team?
Yeah, I definitely do not have a team. I have
What's your team?
my friend and my sister, my friend Lauren and my sister Anisha will, they'll use their iPhones. It's not like this at all. You guys have an actual budget here. I do not have that. I have, people who are putting up with me at this point and recording and then saying, I have things to do. Can we hurry this up? And I'm like, okay, sure, no problem.
And you edit your own content?
I do. I have a podcast. It's nothing like this. I have a sign that's like printed on a piece of paper. But we're getting up there,
Listen, it's
If
about the
Proven
message.
Investments wants to make an investment, to something very young and may not be
Or
profitable.
partnership.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me one misconception that people may have about working in a family business that you think people,
I think all right, so a lot of people, when they're talking to me, they're like, oh, you have it so easy, but then they'll complain to me about like their boss and their coworkers. And what I say to them is like, okay, you're complaining about your boss and coworkers. Now imagine going home to them and like having dinner with them. And like, then like, that's what family business is like. It is the same problems you have in a regular business. And then you carry it home and you discuss those same problems at the dinner table. So
24/7. There's nobody to talk about.
Yeah, it's 24/7. Imagine you can't talk bad about your boss because your boss is literally your parents. So it's not like you could ever, say anything back. I think the plus side is that, again, I meet the requirement to work there, but people think it's a lot easier than it really is. But it's almost like one is the, never-ending part of it, which is, okay, we're constantly around each other. I live with my parents. So like we'll have arguments at work
And
then we'll go home to dinner. And like sometimes when you want to go home, but you have to go home and have dinner with them. So it's like you have to almost put that aside, but then there's that tension in you. So it's just, it's a lot tougher than it looks. And then obviously in business, when you have people ahead of you who have done such great things, there are huge shoes to fill.
Yeah.
So one big thing when you first join a family business, and I think every person who joins a family business faces this, is, showing that you deserve to be there. Because obviously you're not hired based on your skills. You're hired based on the fact that
your family member.
Yeah, you're hired because your dad said, okay, fine, you're hired. Like, you can't find a job anywhere else, fine, you can come here. So when you have that, it's almost like you have to kind of prove yourself to everybody else and be like, okay, I deserve this position, even though I was just given it.
Yes.
Obviously, I don't have the requirements, I don't have the expertise. And you have to learn quickly, and then you have to be able to tell everybody how to solve their problems. And these are problems that, you have never faced before.
Right.
But everybody's relying on you to solve their problems. And, you're new here. You've been working, so like a carpenter has been working there for 12 years, and he'd be like, oh, what should I varnish this with? And then I have to look up what's the definition of varnish, and I'll be like, let me see what's a good thing to varnish this with. Give me 5 minutes. Yeah, give me 5 minutes. I'll get back to you on that one.
And then come back like an expert, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Give me 5 minutes and I'll come back to you. And I was like, varnish. Yeah. I think that's a good idea. But a lot of it is pretending like you know what you're doing when you really have no idea. So hopefully my employees don't see this either, because I know what I'm doing, guys. But it's a case where, you have all these employees and they're all relying on you on a Friday to make their salaries. So you have to make the right decisions for that. And it feels like a ton of pressure, because you're like, if I make the wrong decisions, it's not just me who it hurts. It's an entire, set of people, an entire team that's relying on me. So it's very, very high pressure that comes along. There are benefits of it, but it is a lot of pressure. It is a lot of management in terms of you're not just solving problems, but you have to learn how to deal with people, which is a big thing that I didn't know how to do when I first joined the business, is just even how to talk to people. What do you do if somebody is disrespectful to you? Do you be disrespectful back? Do you throw consequences? Do you suspend them? Do you encourage them? Are you soft on them? Are you hard on them? So all these questions are running through your mind every 5 minutes of the day, because you're expecting everybody to do their job. And when somebody doesn't do their job, obviously it affects the whole system.
Right.
And then they're compromising it for other people. So you have to be, handling all of these things throughout the day, every single day. And then, when you go home at night, you're kind of reflecting, did I handle this properly? Did I send this person home for a good reason? Did I, encourage this person in the right way? Did I say the right things? Why is this person not doing their job? Is it my fault? Is it something on the company? Am I making the right decisions? Am I making the wrong decisions?
Well, the fact that you're actually even introspective and asking those questions shows that you are really growing as a leader. So that would be, you've been in the business 5 years now? You said?
5 years, yeah.
5 years. And would you say, what would you say your leadership journey has been? As you said, when you started, you didn't even know how to really deal with people.
Yeah.
How is Vikram now in terms of as a leader? In between the TikToks and the videos and the humor, which is a break from all of the heavy stuff that you're talking about.
The TikToks is funny too, because even like my employees, sometimes I'm so strict with them. And then they're watching my TikToks and I'm like, they know I'm not serious. They know I'm just a joking. Like, it's so hard to put a balance in between that. They're like, you're the same guy who was cutting open a door and like making jokes about it, and now you're reprimanding me, like, So the journey has been big learning lessons. I have quit several times from the job. My parents just leave me alone. And then they're like, are you going to come back now, or are you just going to sit home? And I'm like, all right, fine, I'll come back. I was like, I know you guys need me. And they're like, not really, but, it's up to you. So it is a case where I've had my highs, I've had my lows.
Yeah.
And before, I used to be very outcome-based, where it's like, okay, the company needs to get here, and anything that impedes it, like, you have to, just get rid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now I've realized that a big part of it is getting there and, learning to deal with people.
The journey.
Yeah, being respectful, maturing as a person, and who you become as a leader. Because it's hard to lead people who have been doing stuff that they know for so long, and then you're supposed to tell them what to do. Mm-hmm. But I've learned over time that you can gain their respect by even just saying, I don't know.
Absolutely.
And, giving them the respect they deserve. So there are a lot of people in the company who know how to do their job better than I ever could. And I give them that leeway where it's like, I have a lot of respect for them, and they don't look down on me, which is, again, another thing. You think people look down on you if you don't know how to do their job. But they don't. They actually respect the fact that I come to them and I say, what's the best way we could do this? So it has been up and downs, but I learned that the best thing when you don't know how to do something is to just admit it and, learn from there. And nobody's expecting you to have all the answers, but they're just expecting you to try your best.
True.
Yeah.
True. As a leader then, now you feel like, where do you want to take this? Where do you want to take, are you going to quit again? Are you going to stick it out? What's your mindset moving into the future?
Moving into the future, I think I want to, as a leader, I guess, being able to encourage more people, having a motivated staff is something that you really enjoy when you see people like doing their work and, enjoying it. And you kind of want to switch positions with each person and say, why would I be in this position and what, motivates me? So, I don't know. I'm glad that I'm not alone in it because I don't have all the answers. Like being a leader is difficult, but I have my siblings who do their job very well. So even though we all claim to be CEO, everybody has their strengths and their weaknesses. And I think delegating to them and being able to look at how they do things and learning from my dad is probably the hardest thing. But if you ask my dad any question, he'll say that you're wrong. Like when I came in here, they're like, there are no bad answers. That's not how Khemlani works. There are a lot of bad answers, and you're not supposed to say any of them. And majority of the things you say are bad answers. So you have to learn quickly that, especially my dad who's grown the business, he has a lot of expertise, and everybody knows that working with your parents is one of the most difficult things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's very taxing on mental health, which they also don't believe is a thing. So, but it is something that you have to be patient with them. And I think that's a very good one too, is learning to be patient and, working with people who have,
done things
a
certain way for the whole of their life.
Yes, exactly.
And then you're now wanting to come on TikTok.
Exactly. So, and they're like, TikTok, like, what? Even my dad, when I post TikToks, he's like, did it make any money? I'm like, well, not directly, but I sure, like, I didn't get paid, but,
But have you told him what the potential is? Because there is so much potential.
He doesn't
not
believe
interested.
Yeah,
no.
He's like, you tell me you pay your bills with potential. I'll pay mine with real money. And I'll be like, okay.
Okay.
He's a strict guy, but he's had it hard. So,
No, yeah.
Yeah.
So what, in terms of that same social media marketing, how do you decide what you're going to put online and what you're not going to put online with regards to the business? Okay,
so I usually try to be very, I've gained a knack for it over the years, like what will get views and what will not get views. And I've had some like stepping stones where certain things have been controversial, and I try to like play with that line a bit because, there's no growing unless you try and you fail.
You can't be fully safe.
Yeah.
If you stay on the safe side, it's boring.
Yeah, if you stay on the safe side, it's boring.
Yeah.
And that's what I found even working with companies outside of Khemlani Mart, which is like, they want me to do this. And I'm like, I understand. And this is like something my dad always told me, which is there's no point in buying a dog and then barking. If you buy a dog, make him bark. So, and I tell companies that, and they look at me like I'm dumb. But like a lot of companies want to stay on the safe side, but playing with that border a little bit, you'll find it to be very effective.
Yeah.
And even if the response is bad, the one thing about TikTok is that everything lasts almost a day. So the hype for a video will last a day, a week at most, and it'll die down. There are videos I've posted where people are like, you need to take this down. 1 or 2 videos, not too many. And I'm like, I could, but I'll leave it up there and the hype will die down after a week.
Yeah.
And I'll post again. You know, you learn from it, like what you can joke about, what you can't joke about, how to, you know, keep the audience interested is still something I'm learning. But in terms of Khemlani Mart appropriateness as well, they give me some leeway. I usually run it by my sister, who kind of heads our marketing. And if she doesn't agree,
She has to vet it.
she vets it, and if she doesn't agree with me, she's wrong. And if she agrees with me, then she's right.
She's right.
Yeah.
Got it.
So, but she gives me that leeway, and I'll get people's opinions on it.
Yeah.
And usually I trust my own gut.
Before you put it out
Before
there.
I put it out there. But, you know, there's a certain line to play with. Nothing is too detrimental. As long as you're not doing something crazy,
Right.
nothing is too detrimental. And it's just kind of like posting and learning from each post and watching the engagement and seeing where people fall off of the video and stuff like that.
Okay.
And even hearing people's ideas. People would love to critique it, like my friends. And I like that, you know. I'm like, they're like, this is boring. And even though, like, I'm like, you know, it went viral, you still listen to it and you're like,
Right.
all right, this is fair.
What can you tweak?
Yeah, what can you tweak to kind of make it more entertaining and stuff like that? Yeah.
So if you could work with any brand,
Mm-hmm.
what would that be?
Any brand? Oh, that's a good question. I drink a lot of water, so maybe water. If they'll just give me cases of water, that'd be nice. What else?
Not coffee?
Coffee. I drink a lot of coffee.
You just said yes.
Who would sponsor me? Jablum, maybe? I don't even know what I do, but I just want...
You just want the free coffee.
I just want the coffee, like a lifetime supply. I have so many ideas for companies, which is funny. Like, I create an idea before a company even approaches me, and then I just wait and I hope that they approach me. And in the past, it's worked where, like, companies, I'm like, it's almost like you manifested it. You're like, oh, wow, they approached me on this.
Nice.
So,
like which company? Give me an example.
so even like when Fenty Beauty was doing the launch, I was like, oh, I had a good idea for it. And then they called me and I was like, oh, that's crazy. Like, because there was this whole hype about Rihanna.
Yes,
but then they
I
didn't
saw-
like the idea that I did anyway. They were like, nah, this is not good. So I was like, all right.
But you
fair.
still posted something on it.
I did a different idea that
different idea.
they liked. Yeah, that's also the other thing about working with companies, which I hate, is that they don't love playing with the lines of it. So I'll give you an example. One of the Pimentos videos I got paid for, one was an idea that was mine that they didn't approve of. And I just posted it anyway. I was like, you know, I filmed it already. I'm just going to post it. So I did, and it did super well, and they loved it. And I was like, this is the original video I presented to you guys. So I hope they don't come at me for that. But
No, but
yeah.
it's just, this is not coming at any given brand or company. It's
Yeah.
about towing the line, as you say.
Yes.
You know, do you stay fully on the safe side? Do you play with the words?
Yes.
Do you play with the content? Do you
yeah,
kind of jab at your competitor but not call their name?
yeah.
And do it in a creative, humorous way?
Yeah.
Is what you really are trying to do, is from what I've seen of your content.
Yes, and even sometimes like I won't approach companies, so like Juicy Patties, very big company, and I post a video about them, and the person who does the marketing is my friend. So she called me maybe 20 minutes after I posted, and she was like, "Hey, so we're in a bit of like state online in our social media. We want to be a bit safer right now. Do you mind taking that video down?" So I had to just take it down. There are a lot of videos where I've been asked to take it down, like people who have been in the video or companies are in the video and they asked me to take it down. So it's like working with companies is one of the most difficult things, but it's also like such a fun thing when it does well.
Yeah.
And you've like overcome that challenge.
So if you could look back at one lesson that you've learned along the way, just to share with the audience, along your journey of just going into the family business, leading people, kind of pushing the boundaries with your social media content, what's that one lesson? What's that one
Wow.
takeaway that you would want to leave with the audience?
One.
That has helped to shape you, yeah.
Now I have to be deep.
Yeah, no, or not.
I think one takeaway is, I would say, put yourself out there. A lot of people have come to me, and there's a lot of good advice out there, by the way. There's a lot of, you know, deep quotes and stuff that you can read. So this is just one of many, but I would say put yourself out there, because even somebody was asking me about this the other day. They're like, oh, you're not scared when you post? And honestly, like when I first posted, it was more exciting than scary. sometimes you're worried a video won't do well and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you know, I think the more you do it, the more you kind of have more respect for yourself in terms of putting yourself out there. Because after that, when I was doing this and people were saying that I'm, you know, funny, I was like, oh, let me try stand-up comedy. If I'm really funny, I should be able to do it the raw way. And that to me was terrifying the first time I did it.
You tried it?
Yeah. I've been doing it every week at this.
Really?
Yeah, there's a comedy club here in Jamaica, which a lot of people didn't even know. So I've been doing that too. And that was doing really well. And they invited me to do a show. So just putting yourself out there and, you know, getting that self-respect for yourself rather than thinking about what other people say.
Yeah.
Think about what would you do to make yourself happy. And there's a whole list of things I think that align with that. One would be setting goals and accomplishing them. Even if it fails, you say, don't set a goal like, I'll get this. Be like, I want to try this.
Yeah.
And like, I want to post a video and it does this.
And maybe it may do that and it may not, but it's okay.
But you put yourself out there and you'll find that after you did it, you'll feel this sense of relief, which is really nice. And then two is a lot of it is kind of spending time with yourself. And, you know, I think in Jamaica we have a very good entertainment and nightlife, which is very, very fun. But if you break away and you kind of spend some time with yourself for a bit and you know, clear out distractions, it kind of helps you realize what actually makes you fulfilled and what makes you happy.
Did you do that?
I did that, yes. So I kind of took a break from majority of things. Work I couldn't stop, but like in the nights, rather than, you know, going out and hanging out with friends, I would just tell them I'm just gonna stay in for the night. And, you know, I watched a lot of documentaries on, you know, how people have spent their life and different people who have accomplished big things. And a lot of them say, you know, believing in yourself, thinking that you can do a lot of impossible things and not caring about what other people think will, even if you don't accomplish great goals, it will actually make you feel happier.
Freedom.
Yes, exactly. Like even if it's nothing, I mean, if you want to start a podcast, just doing it, you'll find so much fulfillment in doing it. Even if you get 100 views, 200 views, you'll find so much fulfillment in
that you actually did something that you probably were afraid to do and stuck to it.
Yeah. So I've realized that in both work and in TikToks is just like, you know, focusing on, you know, what fulfills me and setting goals for myself. A lot of that. There's probably better advice out there, but that's my good advice.
No, that's your advice. Your favorite, What's your favorite post?
My favorite post that I've done?
Yes.
Oh, my favorite post that I've done. I really like the first podcast episode that I did, which I'm sure you haven't seen it, but I did it with one of my friends, Blake. And I thought it would do really badly. And it didn't do badly. It did like 30,000 views, but I was just like, oh, okay, this is because I haven't done a podcast before.
Right.
And so I was like, I wonder how to make it interesting. So that one was really fun for me just to film.
What about it was fun?
Just filming and working with other people who are very similar-minded, because Blake is also a content creator. So that one was really fun. And then I did a second podcast. So the podcasts for me have been really, really fun. Okay. You know, getting, you know, to talk to somebody else. Yeah. Those were really fun. Even the tile video I did the other day. I heard about that. I sent to 6 people and I was like, this is not funny. And then it got 170,000 views or something like that. And I was like, maybe it is entertaining. After I create a TikTok, the amount of times I've watched it during editing, I absolutely hate it. I think it's the worst video on earth. So every time I'm finished with the video, I'm like, this is so boring. And I have to send it to I have friends who will hype me up no matter what. My sister will hype me up. Yeah, my sister will hype me up no matter what. So I'll send it to them and be like, this is not funny. And they know I'm fishing for compliments. And they're like, no, it's good. Don't worry. And I'm like, thank you so much. All right, I'll post it. And this is the most boring video ever, but I'll post it anyway.
Always have your hype crew.
Yes, so it does really well. The 21 Families one I did, which was, I didn't expect it to go viral at all. And then it got reposted to so many different accounts. And it was the most viral video I've done. And I literally spent 4 minutes filming that entire video. 4 minutes is what I spent. there are videos I've spent like 45 minutes filming and they got like 10 views. And I'm like, you know, where you overthink sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah. So when you don't spend a lot of time filming and then it does really well, you're like, okay, you know, I'm glad, you know, I had the intuition and the joke was caught on.
Okay.
So,
all right.
yeah.
Well,
Which one of my TikToks are your favorite?
I actually like you did one at Food Awards. You were going
Yes.
interviewing.
If I tell you the story about that, that's funny too.
Tell me.
So I emailed them and I said, hey, I have so I had the idea before it came. I had been to Food Awards the year before and I got free tickets. And I was like, hey, because a Food Award ticket is like $30,000. It's crazy. Am I allowed to say these things?
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So I emailed them and I was like, hey, I'm not sure if you'll even see this, but I really want to do a video. Can I get a free ticket so I can just shoot the video? And they emailed me back. They'd say, yeah, we love that. Can you send us a video idea? And we'd love to have you come in. And I was like, okay, it's secured. And then I sent them the video. And then they were like, actually, we thought about it. We don't necessarily like the video. You know, but good luck with your TikTok journey. And then, so I called my dad and I was like, hey, Dad, you know, is there any way, I know you have friends, you know, can I get some Food Award tickets? And he was like, yeah, sure, why not? So he got Food Award tickets for me and my sister and, you know, whatever. And I did the video. And while I was in there filming, the marketing person came up to me and they're like, oh, you came? And I was like, yeah, I know you guys don't rate me, but, you know, Sagicor rates me. So they gave me some tickets.
Sagicor.
And they said, are that competition? I don't know.
That's fine.
And then they were like, please don't film the video. And I was like, I'm already here. I came this way, so I'm just going to film it. And then I filmed it. And it was really, really fun. And that same night, I actually performed at 100. So I was like, I had an event, and then I performed like stand-up comedy at 100. And then I had Food Awards. So during the Food Awards, I was sweating so much, like from the heat and the exhaustion. And it was just really fun to film. And it was fun that they were just walking behind me and being like, what is he doing now? Like,
yeah, yes, that's what they were doing.
Yeah, they were like, what do you mind not doing this? So
yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, it was very, very fun.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Vikram, for sharing about your journey and just how you've pivoted somewhat, you know, in a family business, doing something very different.
Yeah.
From our conversation, I have seen the serious businessman side when you talk about your leadership and just, you know, holding persons accountable. And then we see the entrepreneurial side, the fun, humorous side. Have you ever struggled with persons taking you seriously in light of that humorous side, in light of the fact that, you know, you can make light of a situation?
I think subconsciously, a lot of people think about it, especially if you know, sometimes I'll lose my temper and I'll get upset, and in the back of their mind, they're like, this is the same guy who's called Vicky Poo. Like, he can't be yelling at me. And even like, all right, so we got a new security guard the other day, and then while I'm walking out and explaining to him, he goes, well, go on TikTok, boss. And I'm like, all right, there's no way. Like, sometimes it's so difficult to handle like professional versus, you know, like, oh, I'm also on TikTok kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it is, it's like almost a daily thing that I think about. Even when I'm reprimanding somebody, I'm like, they know that I post videos online. Like, it's just, it's probably, to them, they all see the videos and I'll hear them playing it. And I'm like, oh gosh, I saw the new video. I wonder what they think. Like, there's ones where I'm like dabbing up girls and they're like, oh boy, how am I going to stop my staff from seeing? And a lot of them follow me and comment.
I'm sure they do.
And they're like, oh, that's my boss. And I'm like, oh boy, please don't. So it's a struggle, but I'm learning to enjoy it. Like, honestly, it's, to me, I thought it was a problem at first, but I realized it's a good problem because that means at least, you know, they're seeing. Yeah, I think it'd be worse if I was posting and nobody was seeing except for them. And they're like, wow, he's just trying to be, you know, a TikToker.
Do you think it makes you more relatable?
I think it shows them that I have less serious side, because at work I try to be very serious. I don't try to joke around a lot,
Yeah.
which is probably something that they find super strange, because
Yeah.
I try to be, let's get work done kind of thing. So I think sometimes I even overcompensate, or I'm too serious at work,
Yes.
so that they don't joke around with me, because I'm afraid to create that boundary where there's no sense of professionalism. Because I've never worked a job, so I don't really know how to have that boss, employee relationship sometimes. But I'm doing my best, because it was already
Balance.
difficult before the TikTok, and now it's it's a bit more difficult. But I find it still to be fun in a way. Like when they compliment my TikTok, they say, "Sir, I see you breaking our doors." I'm like, "Oh boy."
Okay.
Well, hopefully it sells some more. I just try to brush it off.
Make light of the situation.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Okay. And then you mentioned earlier about your dad talking about TikTok and not paying bills with potential.
Yeah.
Right? How have you navigated trying to bring a more modern approach to maybe marketing or any other business process to, as you said, a family business that started decades ago?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think how it works at other companies is you guys sit in a meeting room and then you guys brainstorm ideas and you go, "That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Maybe we explore that." But how it works in a family business is you sit in a meeting room and my dad says what he wants done and you say, "Okay." And then you say an idea and he goes, "That's not a good idea." And so you continue. So it bringing a modern thing to a very traditional business is difficult.
Yes.
Because you're trying to change things that have been working for 60 years.
Yes.
So like things have been working and all of a sudden you're like, "Oh, but
why don't you try this?"
Yeah, why don't you try this? And they're like, not only am I his son, but I'm also like 29 and he's, 69, 70. So it's like, it's a case where if I was that age, I wouldn't be listening to somebody who's 29. So I kind of have learned to understand, that it is very hard to break the traditions.
Yes.
But certain things are more flexible. So like the marketing,
right,
when I showed him, rather than telling him, I find showing him is a little better, where I can be like, "Okay, Pop, look at this." A astute businessman looks at the money. Whereas when you're showing him like, "Okay, this got this many views," stuff like that, it may not be something he understands. But I think just the fact that I'm his son, he'll entertain certain ideas. So he'll be like, "All right, you seem really passionate about this. Go ahead and do it." Yeah. So that's how you kind of break the modern thing into it. So it's difficult, and every family business faces it, because I've spoken to every single person in a family business, and they all say, "My dad says this, and I want to put in this." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's the same everywhere." So at least we're all in this together. Yeah. And thankfully, I have my siblings who are quite supportive in me, and they allow, whatever changes we each want to make to the business.
You guys collaborate.
We collaborate, and we're like, "How do we hide this from our dad for a little bit until we show him that it works?"
That it works.
Yeah.
Show him that he's like the proof of the pudding is in the eating, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So,
All right, great. All right, so we're going to head into our interactive segment of the podcast, where I'm going to ask you a question and you will answer with one word.
Oh, wow.
Proven pulse.
All right.
Check.
Pressure.
What one word that describes your brand?
Family.
Okay, yeah. What's the biggest lesson you learned from last year?
Being patient with my parents.
Patience.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh.
One word. Current mindset.
Restart.
No, that's fine. Patience. Current mindset.
Learning.
Nice. Love that. All right, we're going to do our proven picks. What's your favorite app? Phone app?
TikTok.
No brainer. What's your go-to Kingston lunch spot?
Island Vibes.
Okay. And what's your favorite book or podcast?
Views podcast.
Views?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Why?
It's just very, am I allowed to use more than one word?
You know you can.
It's just very entertaining, and it's very funny and light. It's not about anything heavy.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I don't think anybody's here has ever seen it, but it's like,
I'm gonna go look it up.
Yeah, it's very light and entertaining.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So this or that. You want to plan it or wing it?
Wing it.
TikTok or Instagram?
TikTok.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
Yes! Thank you so much, Vikram, for joining us and for just sharing and just being really authentic. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
I think there are a lot of takeaways for our audience. For me, I would say the one thing is, as you said, put yourself out there. Act despite the fear and despite the thoughts in your head about what others may think about it, and that will give you a sense of freedom. So just try it and be prepared to succeed, but also be prepared to fail if the fail is the word that you want to use. So I think that was a great takeaway from all that you have said, and just using humor and looking at situations, seeing how you can toe the line to bring the message across, which is somewhat of a risk taking, but as you said, you have to be prepared to take that risk sometimes, because if you play it on the safe side, you'll never know what the boundaries really are.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely.
So I'm thanking the audience for tuning in today, asking you to like, share, and comment, and to help us to grow this really great community that we're creating of innovative thinkers and bold change makers. Thanks, Vikram,
Thank you
again
so much
for
for having me.
joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.